जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वरूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतश्री नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि प्रिये। वञ्चकल्पतरोर्भ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्रे येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपरिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतादुहे नमः. So welcome you all once again to our classes on Bhagavad-Gita as it is in Bhakti-sastri course. We'll start a new chapter today, chapter 9. In the last chapter, Lord Krishna told Arjuna about the signs of remembering him at the time of death. So that's what we discussed. And as I mentioned, chapter 8 is an introduction to pure devotional service, Ananya Bhakti, which is explained in detail by the Lord in chapter 9. The process of pure devotional service is explained in detail uh, in chapter 9. So let's start this chapter. Mm. This chapter is very similar to chapter 7, just like chapter 5 is very similar to chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita. So this chapter it discusses the same themes which chapter 7 discussed, but in more detail, or you can say more depth. Verse number 1, chapter 9. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajñatva mokshase shubhat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So you can see that these two words have come before also. Jnanam and Vijnanam. It has come in chapter 7. The same words are used by the Lord here. And these two words, they keep on coming in all the Vedic scriptures. It comes again and again in Srimad Bhagavatam also. When Prahlad Maharaj was talking to his classmates, the sons of demons, there also he used these two words, Jnanam and Vijnanam. He was telling them that I got this knowledge from Narad Muni when I was in the womb of my mother. And Narad Muni gave me both Gyan and Vigyan. So different meanings can be taken for these two terms, but a very basic meaning is Jnana means theoretical knowledge of a subject, and Vijnana means realized knowledge of the subject. That means you have experience of it. So Jnana and Vijnana, these two words are there. So he's saying, Krishna is saying that, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, anasuya way, I'm imparting this most confidential knowledge to you. So these few words are very important. One is Guhya Tamam, the next is Anasuyave, and then there is Jnanam and Vijnanam. So what is Guhya? Guhya means secret, confidential, right? Guhya Tamam. So this is superlative degree. In Sanskrit, there are three terms. One is Guhya, the other is Guhya Tara, and the third is Guhya Tama. So in English translation would be Guhya means confidential, Guhya Tara means more confidential, and Guhya Tama means most confidential. Okay, you can look at how these three topics are discussed in Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 2 to 6, Bhagavad Gita talks about Atma Jnana, that we are not this body, we are spirit, souls, Atma. So that is Guhya Jnana, because very few people know about it, even about the existence of soul, right? So that is the difference between matter and spirit. When I first came to Krishna consciousness, this knowledge, it attracted me the most. The very scientific, logical analysis of how you're not the body and you're something beyond the body, and what is consciousness. So I was very intrigued by this subject matter of consciousness. I remember the first book I read in my Krishna consciousness journey was the book on consciousness, life, matter, and consciousness, and that really inspired me a lot to go beyond this external reality, seeing this as the only reality. Hmm. So this is Guhya Gyan, right? And if one has this Guhya Gyan, one can get the highest result of liberation, which we call moksha in Sanskrit. Fine. Then there's Guhya Tara Gyan, more confidential. That Guhya Tara Gyan is about, you can say Paramatma, or you can say Bhakti. So that is more confidential. And then there is Guhya Tamam Gyan, which is most confidential, and that is Kevala Bhakti. Why it is most confidential? Because Guhya Tara Gyan or Bhakti can provide one entrance into Vaikuntha, but Kevala Bhakti provides one entrance into where the highest abode in Vaikuntha, which is Goloka.
Golok.
Golok, right? So that's how it becomes the most confidential. This is explanation of these three terms. And the next is Anasuyave. So this is a very important term. You can always keep these two things in your mind. These two qualities are the most basic qualities required for a person to approach spiritual knowledge or a spiritual teacher. One should not have envy towards the teacher, the guru, the spiritual master, non-envious. Hmm. And Shraddha Dhanaha, one should have faith. This will be mentioned by Krishna in 9.3, I think. This is very, very important. Uh, when Prahlad Maharaj was instructing, tomorrow I have to give a class of this topic, therefore this thing is coming in my mind again and again. So when Prahlad Maharaj was instructing the sons of the demons, they had no previous sanskar of bhakti, right? Isn't it? How would demons have previous sanskar of bhakti? So the demons may think that, Prahlad, you are giving this knowledge to us. How will we understand? We don't have any sanskar for it. No background. None of our parents are like that. And so then Prahlad said that even if you don't have any sanskar for it, but if you just hear to what I am saying with shraddha or faith, that knowledge will enter into your heart, even if you have no previous sanskar to it, you know. So this shraddha is considered a very important quality on the path of bhakti or in spiritual life. Actually, shraddha is everything in spiritual life. Honestly speaking, you may be the most unintelligent person in the world, but if you have shraddha, you have won the game in the arena of bhakti. And you might be the most intelligent person in the world. You don't have shraddha, then you're going to be a loser on the path of bhakti. For sure. Because intelligence is not at all a qualification for bhakti. What is qualification is shraddha, faith. If that faith is there, you win the game in bhakti. If that faith is not there, you lose. In fact, this shraddha is only called as prema when it becomes completely mature. There's no difference between shraddha and prema. Technically speaking, there's no difference between shraddha and prema, right? So this shraddha, when it is there, we have to understand this science very nicely. Shraddha means what? You may not understand the subject. You may not understand the language. You may not understand whether you know you'll be able to apply it in your life or not. You don't understand any of those things, but you have complete faith in the person who is speaking the knowledge that this person, whatever he is speaking for my benefit. If that is there, then that is called Shraddha. And interestingly, if you read Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit, you'll find that those people who met Srila Prabhupada and became his disciples, they had this one good quality. They had 100% faith in Swamiji, that this Swamiji, whatever he is speaking it has to be correct. It cannot be wrong. No. And because they had that, you can say, blind faith in Srila Prabhupada, fortunately, because though they may have blind faith, but the person was very genuine. So that 100% Shraddha, it made the message enter into their hearts very deep, very, very deep, you know. So this is required. When the Shraddha is there, then there is an invisible connection created between the hearts of two persons, the heart of the listener and the heart of the speaker. So that invisible connection is called the spiritual connection, you know. So that invisible connection is created, and then you might find it illogical to hear, but then the soul speaks and the soul hears. You it's not that okay, the person's vocal cord or the throat makes the sound and your eardrums they hear the sound. No, when there is Shraddha, then the soul speaks and the soul hears. So it is soul to soul communication. So that is the beauty of Shraddha. And Krishna says if you don't have that Shraddha, then this knowledge will not be obtained. Let's go a little technical into it. Our senses, they give us pratyaksha, which means sensory experience. Right or wrong? Right? And the knowledge is transcendental, divya, beyond the sensory perception. So how can the senses receive the knowledge which is beyond the senses? It cannot. So what can receive that knowledge? Only that aspect of me which is beyond the externals can receive that knowledge. And that is the Atma. That is the soul. So the only thing that soul needs for receiving transcendental knowledge from another source of that transcendental knowledge is intelligence? No. Very sharp mind? No. Some good qualities? No. Education? No. What does it need? It only needs Shraddha, faith. That's all. Hmm. So Krishna says here, Anusuya ve. Two things. Should be Shraddhavan. And second, you should not have envy towards the person. Anasuya ve. Anasuya is the name of a personality. She was the wife of Atri Muni, you know. So her story comes, very interesting story, very, very interesting story. So, it's said that Anusuya, she became very popular throughout the whole universe, that there is no one as chaste and pure-hearted as her. So one day, Narad Muni, he went and told to Lakshmi Devi that Anusuya is very chaste. So Lakshmi said, is she chaste more than me? So he said, yes. And then he went to Parvati and said the same thing. So Parvati said, is he more chaste than me? And he said, yes. Then he went to, I think Gayatri or Saraswati, I don't remember. And they said the same thing. I don't remember who. So that personality also said, is she more chaste than me? And he said, yes. So, these three ladies, they are the most powerful personalities in material universe. They became little envious of Anasuya. That how can she be the most chaste? Like one is thinking, I'm wife of Lord Vishnu, another is thinking, I'm wife of Lord Shiva, another is thinking, I'm so closely associated with Lord Brahma. So then they complain to their husbands, you know, that this is not becoming. How can she become more glorious than us? This is we cannot accept it. So you all go and you try to defame her, bring down her from her position. Now these three personalities, just to make their wives happy, they said, okay, we'll do the job. But but they know that what is the reality. They also understand. So they went to Anasuya, and then they said, because they wanted to test her. So they said that we have come to you in the form of a bhikshuk. They went there as a mendicant, and they said we have come here in the form of a bhikshuk. So you are a brahmana lady. You should give us something. So Anusuya said okay. So she went inside the house and she brought some things to be given as bhiksha. So then these three they put a condition. No, no, we are we are like your son. We are like your children. you know so a mother should feel no shame to appear without any clothes in front of the child. Therefore you have to come to us without having any clothes on your body and give us bhiksha, then only you will receive. Otherwise you will not receive. So this was a kind of a test, because now she'll be in dharma sankata. One thing is that if the brahmana goes without taking bhiksha, that is also problem. Second, how can she come in front of them without any clothes on? That is also not correct, adharmic. So she was like, she would be tested now. So what they wanted to do is basically they wanted her to become angry and agitated. That's what they wanted her to become. So if she would have been a normal person, she would have said, how dare you speak like that? You are sadhus, you know, you are dongi sadhus, get lost from here. That's what would be the natural reaction, isn't it? That's what she would say. So she said, okay, I'll agree to your condition, but then I also have a condition. And they said, what? You just now told that you are like my sons, you are like my children. So my condition is that you become my children, babies. You first become my babies, then I will definitely fulfill your condition. So then all three of them, they became babies, milk sucking babies, that much small. Now Anusuya, now she had no problem. So then she removed her clothes and then she started feeding them the milk. She said, I given you bhiksha. The problem, what happened next is they became so happy with her as their mother, and of course she also with them, that now these babies are not becoming Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh again. So, so Lakshmi and Parvati and the other personality, they kept on waiting. Where are husbands gone? So Narad Muni came and said, your husbands have now become babies. They're no longer Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. So they are now babies now. So they were like, how come they have become a baby? So then they had to come to Anusuya and then beg Anusuya, please give her husband back, you know. So then after that, the story continues. Then they agreed to become Anusuya's son as Dattatreya they came. So there, the Lord themselves showed how Anusuya was very pure. And what was her purity? She was non-envious. How was she non-envious? Because when those sages, they asked her to come in front of them without clothes, she did not react with anger or frustration, you know. Means she had no envy towards them. She did not see what is the quality of envy. You may not understand how it is non-envy. The quality of envy is it makes you see fault. That's the quality of non-envy. And Anasuya, she did not see fault in those three sages. That's why she is non-envious. She didn't see any fault in them, you know. So that's the quality of non-envy. And Krishna says you should have that kind of quality towards here when we are studying Gita towards Krishna, or you should have that kind of quality towards your Guru, Anasuya. Then the message given by the Guru will penetrate the heart. So this is very important message. What does envy do? Envy, it blocks the flow of love. That's what envy does. It makes one see a good person as a bad person. That's what envy does. Even if that person has a lot of good qualities, if you're envious of that person, it hides the good and it only makes you see the bad. And what is that subtle mentality? Why he or why she? Why not me? Right? Someone says, oh, he's such a nice singer. Why he? Why not me? He's so intelligent. Why she? Why not me? He's so humble and such a nice devotee. Nice devotee. Why he or she? Why not me? No, that's envy. So Krishna is telling here, Arjuna, you are non-envious of me. So what does it mean? When Krishna will tell Arjuna, I am the supreme personality of Godhead, Arjuna will not say, why you? Why not me? Why not me? Why you only? You know? After all, what is the difference? You and me are brothers, no cousin brothers. You are my uncle's son, right? And my mother is your bua. We are quite similar, no? I'm also very famous. Not only you are a good bowman or a fighter, I also am very good fighter, you know. So he's not thinking like that. He's not envious of Krishna. So therefore, Krishna will tell him the truth and he will accept it. So this is a very important point. Maybe you can make a note of it. When we come to spiritual life, don't think that your spiritual master or your gurus will tell you everything. First of all, they'll see how much pure your approach is. If your heart is having some envy towards them, they will hide the confidential secrets of transcendental knowledge from you. They'll not share it. They will not reveal it into your heart because it is their property. And we cannot snatch it from them or we cannot steal it from them. Just like let's say Krishna Prabhupada owns Krishna. Can I go and steal Krishna from Prabhupada? Can I? No. But if Prabhupada wants to give me Krishna, he can give. But can I steal it from him? No. Similarly, transcendental knowledge, it cannot be stolen. It cannot be it cannot be acquired by one's own efforts alone. It is actually bestowed upon us. And that bestowal will only happen when the Guru, who is non-different from Paramatma, will see in your heart, do you still have envy? If we have that envy, then that knowledge will not get transferred. It will not happen. Or even if the knowledge will get transferred, the essence of that knowledge will not get transferred. It's a very important point to understand. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam says this is the scripture for Nirmatsaranam, those people who are non-envious. Right? Okay. So it's a very small point, but this point has a deep explanation to it when it comes to acquiring knowledge or spiritual knowledge. So Krishna says, don't be envious. Do not have envy. Mhm. That's what makes you qualified first, and then second have Shraddha. Okay. Um, I'll read the translation again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Purport. We'll read the purport. As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized. So topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed among devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna and the association of devotees. Therefore, in a very simple term, I was telling very in the very beginning of Bhakti-sastri course that an attitude to study the Shastra in should be in the mood of a service. I am doing seva. Shastra study is not just accumulation of jnana. It is basically done with seva bhav. I am doing seva. Not that I want to do it just because I want to get some jnana so that I become jnani or I become knowledgeable person. No, that's not the attitude. When it comes to Shastra Adhyan, it is a seva. That seva bhav means non-enviousness. If it is only about knowledge, then the mentality can be very much like this. Let me get knowledge from this person and then let me become more knowledgeable than this person. No, isn't it? That's what generally happens in academic world. People learn from someone to actually become better than that person only. And that's where they find glory. I have learned much more than my teacher, or I have learned much more than my guru, or I know more than my own teacher. That's how they feel pride. But in spiritual life, that cannot be the attitude. It has to be done in seva bhav. So Prabhupada says here, devotees are always engaged in service. Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this ninth chapter matters more confidential than he has already disclosed. Again, this is the point. Seeing our eagerness, seeing our humility, and seeing how much faith we have and non envy, the Guru will give us higher and higher knowledge. Yeah, more and more knowledge. So the revelation of Krishna consciousness upon us happens based on how humble we are, how eager we are, and how much we have Shraddha and non envy. Accordingly, that knowledge is revealed to us. The very beginning of Bhagavad-Gita, the first chapter is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book. And in the second and third chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Topics discussed in the seventh and eighth chapters are specifically related to devotional service. And because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. So the matters which are described in the ninth chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. Therefore, he has no material past, although he is in the material world. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that although one has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord, is situated in the conditional state of material existence, he is to be considered liberated. Similarly, we shall find in the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter that anyone who is engaged in that way is a liberated person. Now, this verse has specific significance. The words idam jnanam, this knowledge, refer to pure devotional service, which consists of nine different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. By the practice of these nine elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand the science of Krishna. Simply to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization. But one should recognize the difference between the activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands that he is not the body. In the seventh chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior natures, and all this material manifestation. Now, in chapter 9, the glories of the Lord will be delineated. The Sanskrit word anasuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad-Gita very inaccurately because they are envious of Krishna. Their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by devotees of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So such commentary should be very carefully avoided. For one who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial. Okay, so this is very important verse, and Prabhupada's purport is also quite explanatory. Fine. Is bhakti also knowledge? So another point to understand. Is bhakti also knowledge? Here it is said param guhya jnana. So it is knowledge. Yes, it is true. It is also knowledge. Jnana means by which something is known. So by bhakti, what is known? By bhakti, Lord Krishna is known. Bhaktya mam vijanati. Therefore, bhakti is also jnana. But this jnana is not the same jnana which is again and again condemned in scriptures by the devotees. That is jnana on the jnana marg. That is condemned, right? Not jnana as such is said to be wrong. So jnana is there about bhakti, about Krishna. That is totally fine. But unnecessary mundane knowledge and dry speculation about the impersonal aspect of the Lord is not to be engaged in. That is what is mentioned here. Fine. We go to the next verse. So, having spoken about this knowledge, Krishna is going to now tell what are the 8 characteristics of this knowledge. Very famous verse, 9.2. Rajavidyam Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttama Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartam Avyayam. So, 8 characteristics are there. Rajavidya, the king of education. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. Okay. So 8 things, and Prabhupada gives a long purport explaining each one of them. Raja Vidya. There are different types of Vidyas. So this is the best of all Vidyas. Rajaguyam. There are many things which are secret or confidential. So this is the most confidential subject matter. Pavitra. It's most purifying for the soul to just sit and hear this knowledge or to read this knowledge. It will purify you. It will make your mind very peaceful because of purification obtained. So it is very purifying. Many things in this world is contaminating. Hmm. But here it is purified. Next, we have Uttamam. It is transcendental. It's not knowledge of mundane world, and it will make you transcendental. Pratyaksha avagamam. It can be experienced when one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness. Then all these things become experience. They don't just remain a theory. Everything becomes an experience. Dharmyam. It is the highest dharma. Hmm. Arjuna asked Krishna, what is my dharma? And Krishna is saying, this is the highest dharma for everyone. Susukam, here it is happily performed when one understands it. And then avyayam, it is everlasting. This knowledge doesn't get destroyed. So these are the 8 qualities of confidential knowledge mentioned. Uh, Purport. Your question is, Shweta Mataji, how can pure devotee like Lakshmi Devi have envy? So we should know these stories are not to tell us that Lakshmi has envy. These stories are given to teach us a lesson. What is that lesson? So what it is teaching us how Anasuya doesn't have envy. So that's the point. So there are many things which are done just as a part of a pastime to teach us a lesson. All right. Um,
Uh, Pure devotee does not have envy, na?
so that's why this is only for teaching us a lesson. They don't have envy. That is true. But if they don't teach us lesson, who will teach us lesson? So that's why they teach us lesson sometimes, or the Lord teaches us a lesson through them. When you hear a pastime, we don't have to try to diagnose the character of the personality mentioned in the pastime. They are only a medium to teach us a lesson. So our focus should be on the lesson, not on that personality.
Okay,
Just like
thank you.
Arjuna, just like Arjuna is a pure devotee. So why is Arjuna acting like an ignorant person here? To teach us a lesson. So that's what we have to focus upon. In spiritual world, there is no Maya. In spiritual world, there is no Maya. And if there is envy also, that is only to increase Krishna's enjoyment for the pastime's sake, Leela's sake. But there is no malice in one's heart for the other person. So there is a difference between that envy and the envy which we have. Our envy is I should be happy and you should be miserable. That is our envy. Or I should be more happy and you should be less happy. But in spiritual world, envy is only in the play. Play means it is just for increasing the rasa, flavor. Like sometimes, let's just to give you an example, two small kids, they fight with each other with a pillow, right? Isn't it? Pillow fight. So that pillow fight is just to give one another some fun, some entertainment. But with that pillow fight, there is no intention of killing the other person. No? So it looks like a fight, but that fight is just for entertainment's sake. Similarly, in spiritual world, they might be envy, but just to increase the rasa, not with the intention of harming the other person or pulling down the other person. No, in material world, it is for basically, vengeful attitude is there. There's some vengeance. Why that person is happy? I should be more happy. That envy is problematic. Okay, perfect. Sanjay Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Purport. The chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Among the principal philosophers in India are Gautama, Kannada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Shandilya, Veshwa, Nara, and finally there is Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta Sutra. So there is no dearth of knowledge in the field of philosophy or transcendental knowledge. Now the Lord says that this ninth chapter is the king of all such knowledge, the essence of all knowledge that can be derived from the study of the Vedas and different kinds of philosophy. It is the most confidential because confidential or transcendental knowledge involves understanding the difference between the soul and the body. And the king of all confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. Generally, people are not educated in this confidential knowledge, they are educated in external knowledge. As far as ordinary education is concerned, people are involved with so many departments: politics, sociology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, engineering, etc. There are many departments of knowledge all over the world and many huge universities. But there is unfortunately no university or educational institution where the science of the spirit soul is instructed. Yet the soul is the most important part of the body. Without the presence of the soul, the body has no value. Still, people are placing great stress on the bodily necessities of life, not caring for the vital soul. The Bhagavad Gita, especially from the second chapter on, stresses the importance of the soul. In the very beginning, the Lord says that this body is perishable and that the soul is not perishable. Antavanta ime deha nitya shukta sari rinha. This that is that is a confidential part of knowledge. Simply knowing that the spirit soul is different from the body and that its nature is immutable, indestructible, and eternal. But that gives no positive information about the soul. Sometimes people are under the impression that the soul is different from the body and that when the body is finished or one is liberated from the body, the soul remains in a void and becomes impersonal. But actually, that is not the fact. How can the soul, which is so active within this body, be inactive after being liberated from the body? It is always active. If it is eternal, then it is eternally active, and its activities in the spiritual kingdom are most confidential part of the spiritual knowledge. These activities of the spiritual soul are therefore indicated here as constituting the king of all knowledge, the most confidential part of all knowledge. This knowledge is the purest form of all activities, as explained in the Vedic literature. In the Padma Purana, man's sinful activities have been analyzed and are shown to be the results of sin after sin. Those who are engaged in fictive activities are entangled in different stages and forms of sinful reactions. For instance, when the seed of a particular tree is sown, the tree does not appear immediately to grow. It takes some time. It is first a small sprouting plant, then it assumes the form of a tree, then it flowers and bears fruit, and when it's complete, the flowers and the fruits are enjoyed by the person who have sown the seed of the tree. Similarly, a man performs a sinful act, and like a seed, it takes time to fructify. There are different stages. The sinful action may have already stopped within the individual, but the results or the fruit of that sinful action are still to be enjoyed. These are sins which are still in the form of a seed, and there are others which are already fructified and are giving us fruit, which we are enjoying as distress and pain. As explained in the 28th verse of the 7th chapter, a person who has completely ended the reactions of all sinful activities and who is fully engaged in pious activities, being freed from the duality of this material world, becomes engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, those who are actually engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord are already freed from all reactions. This statement confirmed in the Padma Purana. Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalo na mukham gramine naiva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratat manam. For those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sinful reactions, whether fructified in the stalk or in the form of a seed, gradually vanish. Therefore, the purifying potency of devotional service is very strong and it's called Pavitram Uttamam, the purest. Uttama means transcendental. Tamas means this material world or darkness. And Uttama means that which is transcendental to material activities. Devotional activities are never to be considered material, although sometimes it appears that devotees are engaged just like ordinary men. One who can see and is similar with devotional service will know that they are not material activities. They're all spiritual and devotional, uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is said that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. This direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, in course of chanting without offenses, feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. This is actually seen. Furthermore, if one engages not only in the hearing but in trying to broadcast the message of devotional activities as well, or if he engages himself in helping the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness, he gradually feels spiritual progress. This advancement in spiritual life does not depend on any kind of previous education or qualification. This method itself is so pure that by simply engaging it in one becomes pure. In the Vedanta Sutra 3.2.26, this is also described in the following words: Prakashas cha karmayan abhyasat. Devotional service is so potent that simply by engaging in the activities of devotional service, one becomes enlightened without a doubt. A practical example of this can be seen in the previous life of Narada, who in that life happened to be the son of maid servant. He had no education, nor was he born into a high family. But when his mother was engaged in serving great devotees, Narada also became engaged, and sometimes In the absence of his mother, he would serve the great devotees himself. Narada personally says, Uchishta lepam anumodito dvijehe sakrit sma bhuneja tat apasta kilbisa evam pravit pravitsya visuddha chetasas tad dharma ivatma ruchi prajayate. In this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.25, Narada describes his previous life to his disciple Vyasadeva. He says that while engaged as a boy servant for those purified devotees during the 4 months of their stay, he was intimately associating with them. Sometimes those sages left remnants of food on their dishes, and the boy who'd also washed their dishes wanted to taste the remnants. So he asked the great devotees for the permission. And when they gave it, Narada ate those remnants and consequently became freed from all sinful reactions. As he went on eating, he gradually became as pure hearted as the sages. The great devotees relished the taste of unceasing devotional service to the Lord by hearing and chanting, and Narada gradually developed the same taste. Narada says further, Tatra na vaham Krishna katha pragyatam anugrah anugranes अनुग्रहेणास श्रवणावनम मनोहर तत्श्रद्धाय मे नुपाधम विरस्वत्व प्रियास
Vishanvataha.
वृषन्वत
Vas-
प्रियासरवस्य अंग माम भावत रुचि. By,
Bhagavad-Gita.
by associating with the sages, Narada got the taste for hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, and he developed a great desire for devotional service. Therefore, as described in the Vedanta Sutra, Prakasas cha karmanya abhyastam. If one is
Vyasad.
engaged abhyasat,
Vyas.
abhyasat. If one is engaged simply in the acts of devotional service, everything is revealed to him automatically and he can understand. This is called pratyaksha, directly
Pratyak-
perceived. Pratyaksha.
Pratyak. Thank you.
Pratyaksha.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Someone else can continue. Bharti Mataji, please read from next paragraph.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. The word dharmyam means the path of religion. Narada was actually a son of a maidservant. He had no opportunity to go to school. He was simply assisting his mother. And fortunately, his mother rendered some service to the devotees. The child Narada also got the opportunity and simply by association achieved the highest goal of all religion. The highest goal of all religion is devotional service. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Adokshaje. Religious people generally do not know that the highest perfection of religion is the attainment of devotional service. As we have already discussed in regard to the last verse of chapter 8, Vedeshu Yagneshu Tapassu Chaiva, generally Vedic knowledge is required for self realization. But here, although Narada never went to the school of the spiritual master and was not educated in the Vedic principles, he acquired the highest results of Vedic study. This process is so potent that even without performing the religious process regularly, one can be raised to the highest perfection. How is this possible? This is also confirmed in Vedic literature. Acharyavan Purusho Veda, one who is in association with the great Acharyas, even if he is not educated or has never studied the Vedas, can become familiar with all the knowledge necessary for realization. The process of devotional service is a very happy one. Susukam. Why? Devotional service consists of Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. So one can simply hear the chanting of the glories of the Lord or can attend philosophical lectures on transcendental knowledge given by authorized acharyas. Simply by sitting, one can learn. Then one can eat the remnants of the food offered to God, nice palatable dishes. In every state, devotional service is joyful. One can execute devotional service even in the most poverty-stricken condition. The Lord says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Thoyam. He is ready to accept from the devotee any kind of offering, never mind what, even a leaf, a flower, a bit of fruit, or a little water, which are all available in every part of the world, can be offered by any person regardless of social position and will be accepted if offered with love. There are many instances in history. Simply by tasting the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, great sages like Sanat Kumara became great devotees. Therefore, the devotional process is very nice and it can be executed in a happy mood. God accepts only the love with which things are offered to Him. Should I continue?
Okay, someone else can continue. Shweta Mataji.
Okay, Prabhu. Uh, it is uh, it is said that this devotional service is eternally existing. It is not as the Mayavadi philosophy claims. Although they sometimes take to so-called devotional service, their idea is that as long as they are not liberated, they will continue their devotional service. But at the end, when they become liberated, they will become one with the God. Such temporary time service, devotional service is not accepted as pure devotional service. Actual devotional service continue even after the liberation. When the devotee goes to spiritual planet in the kingdom of God, he is also engaged there in serving the Supreme Lord. He does not try to become one with the Supreme Lord. As will be seen in Bhagavad-Gita, actual devotional service begins after liberation. After one is liberated, when one is situated in Brahman position, Brahma Bhuta, one's devotional service begins. Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labhete Param. No one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by executing Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or any other yoga independently. By these yogic methods, one may make a little progress towards bhakti yoga, but without coming to the stage of devotional service, one cannot understand what is the personality of Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also confirmed that when one becomes purified by executing the process of devotional service, especially by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from realized souls, then he can understand the science of God, or science of Krishna or the science of God. Even Prasanna Manso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata. When one's heart is cleared of all nonsense, then one can understand what God is. Thus, the process of devotional service of Krishna consciousness is the king of all education and the king of all confidential knowledge. It is the purest form of religion and it can be executed joyfully without difficulty. Therefore, one should adopt it. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, long purport. Let's go to the next verse and then we'll take some questions or we'll discuss. Ashraddhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Sangsara Vartmani. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. So those who are not faithful, they cannot go back to Krishna. And if they don't come back to Krishna, they'll have to take birth again. Purport. Sankarshan Vishnu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. The Prabhuji faithful and faithful afterwards, Prabhuji. The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Faith is created by association with devotees. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of the Vedic literature from great personalities, still have no faith in God. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. The faith is the most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. That is called real faith, I said in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.3, 4.31.14. Yata Tahor Mula Nisansiya Tripyanti Tat Skadha Bhujo Pasaka Prapahrita Yatrendriyanam Tathavi Sarvaraham Achutya. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfied its branches, twigs, and leaves, and by supplying food to the stomach, one sacrifices all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all demigods and the other living entities. Therefore, after reading Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and adopt. One should give up all engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. If one is convinced of this philosophy of life, that is the faith. Now, the development of that faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. There are three divisions of Krishna conscious men. Now, the development of the faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. There are three divisions of Krishna conscious men. In the third class are those who have no faith, even if they are officially engaged in the devotional service, they cannot achieve the higher perfectional stage. Most probably, they will slip after some time. They may become engaged, but because they have not complete conviction and faith, it is very difficult for them to continue in Krishna consciousness. We have practical experience in discharging our missionary activity that some people come and apply themselves to Krishna consciousness with some motive. And as soon as they are economically a little well situated, they give up the process and take to their old ways again. It is only by faith that one can advance in Krishna consciousness. As far as the development of faith is concerned, one who is well versed in the literatures of devotional service and has attained the stage of firm faith is called a first-class person in Krishna consciousness. And in the second class are those who are not very advanced in understanding the devotional scriptures, but who automatically have firm faith that Krishna Bhakti or service of Krishna is the best course, and so in good faith have taken it up. Thus, they are superior to the third class, who have neither perfect knowledge of the scriptures nor good faith, but by association and simplicity are trying to follow. The third class person in Krishna consciousness may fall down, but when one is second class, he does not fall. And for the first class person in Krishna consciousness, there is no chance of falling down. One in the first class will sure make progress and achieve the result at the end. As far as the third class person is concerned, third class person in Krishna consciousness is concerned, although he has faith in the conviction that devotional service to Krishna is very good, he has not yet gained adequate knowledge of Krishna through the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita. Sometimes these third-class persons in Krishna consciousness have some tendency toward Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, and sometimes they are disturbed, but as soon as the infection of karma yoga or the Gyan yoga is vanquished, they become second class or first class persons in Krishna consciousness. Faith in Krishna is also divided into three stages as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. First class attachment, second class attachment, and third class attachment. And also, attachment are also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. Those who have no faith, even after hearing about Krishna and the excellence of devotional service, we think that it is simply eulogy. Eulogy. Find the faith very difficult, even if they are supposedly engaged in devotional service. For them, there is very little hope of gaining perfection. Thus, faith is very important in the discharge of devotional service. Prabhuji, what's the meaning of eulogy? Hare Krishna?
Eulogy means they think that it is just unnecessary glorification of it, exaggeration of it.
Unnecessary glorification.
Okay. So, Srila Prabhupada says here, there are these differences between the path of Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga. Only in Bhakti Yoga you get all these benefits. Destruction of all karma, it happens only in Bhakti Yoga. It doesn't happen in Karma Yoga, in Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Then in Jnana and Ashtanga, it may happen, yeah, but Karma Yoga, it doesn't happen at all. And Jnana and Ashtanga, it may happen that the karma is destroyed. And one can come to the stage of Sayuja Mukti, or merging in Brahman. Then perception of God. This perception of God is possible only in Bhakti Yoga. In Karma Yoga, one can only perceive Atma, not beyond that. And in Jnana and Ashtanga, one can only perceive Atma and Paramatma. Then easy to execute, only Bhakti Yoga is easy to execute. Jnana and Ashtanga, very difficult. Continues after liberation, only Bhakti continues after liberation. None of the other things, they continue after liberation. So that's how Bhakti Yoga is the best in comparison. Right? This is the explanation given. Okay, so any questions or comments on what we discussed or read so far?
Prabhuji, one question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. In Karma Yoga, actually, when we say somebody is performing Karma Yoga, means all the karma, or so the result of the karma is offered to Krishna. So in that process, how the person entangles in the karma again, like why the karma is not destructed in Karma Yoga?
So there are two types of karma yoga, Sakam and Nishkam.
Yeah.
If it is Nishkam, then definitely that person is purified eventually. Because that Nishkam karma will produce jnana. And there will be purification of heart. So through Nishkam karma yoga, one can come to liberation. But then only karma yoga it's not possible. If sakamata is there, desires are there.
Okay, understood. So Nishkam Karma Yoga means it's maybe beginning of the bhakti.
Nishkam karma yoga has bhakti in it.
Has bhakti in it.
Some element of bhakti is there.
Okay.
But then it's not completely pure because doership mentality is not gone. In bhakti, even the doership mentality is gone. There are three things. One is attachment to the result of the work. Then there is attachment to the work itself. And the last is attachment to doership mentality. I'm the doer. Karta bhavana. These three things are there. So when one is engaged in karma yoga, one is trying to become free from the attachment to the fruit of the work. When one is engaged in Jnana Yoga, then one becomes free from attachment to work also. But only in Bhakti Yoga does one become free from the mentality of doership and I did, I'm doing. So complete purification happens only in Bhakti.
Uh, Prabhuji, can I ask?
Yes.
Prabhuji, I heard from one of the Vaishnava, not from iskcon, that according to in this prarabdha karma cannot be destroyed.
That cannot be destroyed. Prarabdha cannot be destroyed.
I
Because
don't
if
know the
there's no point in destroying Prarabdha. No? If Prarabdha will be destroyed, then you'll be left with nothing. So how can Prarabdha be destroyed?
so destruction of all karmas here means
The destruction of all karma here means that your aprarabdha is destroyed, your sanchit is destroyed, which is a prarabdha, and then the new karma you are not generating anyway because you are doing things in the right spirit. And the past also, whatever is left is only left which is required for your survival.
I'm
If someone
confused what
says,
is
if some
prarabdha, what is
if someone
sanchita.
says, uh, we'll discuss all this later on when we study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So this topic will come there.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Only what about the attachment to a particular seva?
That you have to
So,
then you have yeah, that you have to see in your heart whether you are attached to that seva because you want to serve Krishna or you are attached to that seva because you are getting something from that seva.
if that particular seva is taken away and one
That's
feels
what I told Nabro. You have to
bad,
very nicely check your own heart. Why are you attached to that seva? Are you attached to that seva because you want to please Krishna, or you are attached to that seva because you're getting something out of that seva? So that thing no one can say. That only you can say. If it is completely for pleasing Krishna, then even if that seva will be taken away, you'll become a little sad, but then you'll become happy again because you can serve Krishna in some other way also. What is the problem? To give you an example, let's say you have legs and you like to dance for Krishna, and unfortunately you meet an accident and lose the legs. Then, if you are a genuine devotee, what will you do? Will you tell to Krishna, Krishna, this is the seva I like. You taken away my legs, so now I can't serve you. Then you will find other ways to serve Krishna. So therefore, when you say attachment to seva, we have to just be more, what do you say, introspective. Am I really attached to seva or I'm just having my attachments? Therefore, one devotee said, don't be attached to seva, be attached to seva bhav. Means be attached to service attitude. Don't be attached to seva. Because sometimes seva may be taken away for whatever reason. It may be taken away, or you may not be qualified enough to do it, or there is someone else who can do it better than you. So there could be many reasons. And in Madhurya Kadamani, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that only when you are not very advanced, or let's say I'm saying like that, doesn't mean that exactly it is, but just to make it more clear. When you are more advanced, then you become more attached to the person whom you're serving than the service itself. Because who is more important to me? The pleasure of the person being served by me or the thing that I'm doing?
Pleasure of person.
Like, to give you an example, you invite someone to your house and you are very enthusiastic in serving prasadam to that person. And that person says, my stomach is going to burst now, please, I can't eat more. But you're so enthusiastic and you like to serve, and you say, no, no, I want to serve you, I want to serve you, please eat more, please eat more. So then there you have to consider that, yes, your enthusiasm to serve is very nice, but purpose of your service is to please the other person, right? Correct. That is more.
But the change in seva also sometimes hinders the progress further for further seva
Because we are
or
not
further any
advanced.
other.
We are not mature and advanced enough. If we are mature and advanced enough, then we will not find all these things problematic. That is the reason. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Prabhuji, here in the first class of devotees, in terms of faith, the purport we have read, it speaks about firm faith. So, doesn't one get firm faith in the stage of Nishtha, or it is referring to that prema stage that you told about the
Yeah,
Krishna?
Nishtha is firm faith,
Okay.
quite firm. Before that, it's not firm. And there's another point mentioned here, which is very important. The third class devotees are mentioned as those who become devotees or who get their strength in devotional service out of association and influence. Which means what? It's not that we should not associate with devotees. What it means is, if you can practice Krishna consciousness nicely only when you get devotee association, and otherwise you cannot, then that means your faith is very weak. Because then you are doing bhakti in someone else's influence. Someone is influencing you. It's not your own, you can say, desire or drive. Someone is influencing you, and that influence is making you happy. And this is the reason why most of the people they come down in the Krishna consciousness after the disappearance of spiritual master. Because it was the presence of spiritual master influencing them to practice Krishna consciousness. And when that factor becomes missing, then they become deviated or distracted or unenthusiastic. It happens.
And Prabhuji, I still have a question. For example, that example you have given, where let's say somebody is serving Krishna and by dance, and his or her leg is now not there. So in that moment, maybe that person knows or repeating to self in mind that, okay, I know that whatever Krishna has done is done for my betterment. I have faith. But still that mind wavers or is disturbed. So where is that faith, Prabhuji? How do we see that faith?
That disturbance, how long it is, that's more important. Disturbance in mind can happen to even people who are very advanced. But because they are advanced, that disturbance is not going to stay for long.
Okay. So when we talk about this firm faith, then also that this
Yeah, then
disturbance will
also
come.
it may happen because you have emotions, so sometimes you may become a little sad. But then it's not going to be, it's not going to be your permanent state of mind.
Maybe a day or 2 days or months. Like,
No, it is momentary.
okay. Okay.
It's not long lasting. It's just for some time. Some moments can go like that. But then that person comes back because that person is living in the present. No, that person is not living in the past. So if one thing has gone, the person has other ways to serve. Let's say the legs are cut, but then the mouth is there to chant the holy name.
Mm. And also, Prabhuji, we see some devotees around us whom we always see so happy, jolly, whatever maybe they are showing, they are not showing. but from the outside it looks all good and they are totally surrendered. So they are that extreme or mature faith, or
We can't say that. Externally, how someone is showing himself to himself or herself as happy is not the way to judge anyone. Because that is only an external presentation of someone. Someone may be very serious, but also very fixed in Krishna consciousness. It's not the way you can decide, actually.
so when we say that bhakti is a very joyous process, so how do we?
Joyous.
Yeah.
So
So
that joyous means it is most refreshing for the soul. That's how it is joyful. It doesn't
okay,
mean that externally that joy has to be seen. May not be visible always.
one can
Even
feel for once.
oneself, yeah, one can
Mm.
feel that peace of mind, that satisfaction in the heart.
Mm.
Right. I remember one speaker in iskcon is quite popular. So long time ago, he made a video. He said devotees they should always be smiling, always be happy. But then, do you see the face of Srila Prabhupada always smiling? So he was not a happy devotee. Does it mean that? No. Sometimes Prabhupada was very grave, very serious. Sometimes very much in anxiety also in terms of serving Krishna. Not that always he was just laughing and smiling and being comical or whatever, isn't it? He was serious, he was grave also. So that doesn't mean that he's not happy, because happiness is not by, just some muscular stretch of the face, and you smile and then say, I'm happy. No, it's not like that. Happiness is a state of heart.
Mm.
How satisfied you are inside yourself. That's happiness. And the people who are externally happy or showing themselves to be happy, we just have to we just have to ask that person that are you happy because Krishna is only kind of showing you the good days of your Krishna consciousness. That's why you are happy, because in everyone's life there is a shift of karma cycle, no? Some periods will be there in your life when you materially those will be your good days, and there will be some days in your life which will be materially very, very bad.
Mm.
So that person might be just going through a good phase, and that's why that person is always happy. But what about going through the bad phase? Then that person may not externally be so smiling and happy, isn't it?
Mm.
Correct. Plus, second thing you should know that a sadhaka cannot be actually happy, externally at least. Why? Because a sadhaka is struggling. So how can this person who is struggling be happy? That person is struggling. That person is attracted to Maya as well as Krishna. So that tug of war is always going on in the heart. So how can that person be happy? Sometimes that person falls, sometimes that person wins. So happiness cannot be. Uh, Therefore, if you see devotees moros, don't think that they are not good devotees. Maybe they are just having some struggle going on inside.
Mm. Yes. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Yes.
Yeah. But it's good that we should not become too much overwhelmed by those struggles. Like some people, they can become too depressed by those struggles, and they become always very dull. That's not good. Like you should not be always in that state of dullness also. And also, it's not necessary to be always in the state of just laughing and smiling and being happy externally, right? That is also not required. Yes. Yes, anything else, or we shall continue? We'll continue. Hmm? Verse number 4. Krishna's relationship with the material world. So we'll just continue for 10, 15 minutes more and then stop. Krishna is teaching his relationship with the material world, how he manages the material world. So he maintains the material world through his energies. He creates and destroys the material world through his energies. All these activities, they do not bind Krishna. Krishna remains neutral. So again, this knowledge is given by Krishna here to Arjuna to explain something very important, which is something devotees also are supposed to learn. And what is that? Krishna creates samsara, but Krishna does not become affected by that samsara. So he wants devotees also to be like that. You are in the samsara, but you don't become affected by it. You can't run away from samsara, but you should not become affected by it. That's the point. So Krishna is giving his own example to teach Arjuna, you should become like me. I do so much, but I am not affected by it. We do, but we get affected. Right. So we should not become very affected by it. That's the point. So that to teach that Krishna is showing here, So this is again a very technical section, quite philosophical. मया ततमिदं सर्वं जगत् अव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेषु अवस्थितः. I'll give you an example for this, and this is something which you can ponder upon. It can be seen in the personality of Srila Prabhupada. A point was noted by many people, and which you will find difficult to see in people who are non-devotees, that if Srila Prabhupada became angry upon someone, that anger was only to make a point to that person. But the next day, when Srila Prabhupada would meet that person, they would be like, nothing happened yesterday. But what happens with most of us? It continues, right? It continues in our mind. So that means what, we became attached. But when it came to Srila Prabhupada, he did not. So he acted, but he did not become attached. Therefore, his disciples who got heavy chastisement from him, they never felt that Prabhupada kind of hated them or always belittled them, because the next day they felt as if Srila Prabhupada has completely forgotten yesterday he chastised them very heavily. He would be very normal and natural again. Like every day is kind of a fresh start of that relationship, or a fresh beginning to that relationship. So that is called being detached. And how it happens only because of purity of consciousness. We cannot imitate it. As we become purified, then this quality also appears in our personality. So he says, by me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. What is that unmanifested form? So we call that as Brahman. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So if Krishna is everywhere, definitely everything and everyone is in him. Right? Correct? So he says everything is in me, but I'm not in them. What does that mean? That I'm not supported by them. They don't maintain me. They don't affect me. So, yes, Ram Nagar Prabhuji, please read the purport.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not perceivable through the gross material senses. It is said, Ata Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriya sevon muktehi jivadau swayam eva spuratya adaha. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.234. Lord Sri Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, etc. cannot be understood by material senses. Only to one who is engaged in pure devotional service under proper guidance is he revealed. In the Brahma Samhita 5.38, it is stated, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santaha Sadaiva Rudayeshu Vilokayanti. One can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda always within himself and outside himself if one has developed the transcendental loving attitude towards him. Thus, for people in general, he is not visible. Here it is said that although he is all pervading, everywhere present, he is not conceivable by the material senses. This is indicated here by the word avyaktamurtina. But actually, although we cannot see him, everything is resting in him. As we have discussed in the 7th chapter, the entire material cosmic manifestation is only a combination of his two different energies, the superior spiritual energy and the inferior material energy. Just as the sunshine is spread all over the universe, the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy. Yet one should not conclude that because he is spread all over, he has lost his personal existence. To refute such an argument, the Lord says, I am everywhere and everything is in me, but I am still but still I am aloof. For example, a king heads a government which is but the manifestation of the king's energy. The different governmental departments are nothing but the energies of the king, and each department is resting on the king's power. But still, one cannot expect the king to be present in every department personally. This is a crude example. Similarly, all the manifestations that we see and everything that exists, both in this material world and in the spiritual world, are resting on the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The creation takes place by the diffusion of His different energies, and as stated in the Bhagavad-Gita, Vishtabhyaham idam Krishnam, he is everywhere present by his personal representation, the diffusion of his different energies. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमेश्वरं भूतपृन्न भूच्च भूतस्थो ममात्मा भूतभावनः. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. So Krishna is kind of contradicting himself. In the previous verse he said everything rests in me. Here he says yet it does not rest in me. So how is it possible? So Krishna says it's possible by my Yoga Aishvara, by mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. So these language, the language Krishna is using here, what it does is it makes our head spin, isn't it? It makes us think a lot. So this is the style of the knowledge given in Upanishads. Upanishads, they don't talk straight. They talk in a very twisted language. And the reason for intellectual, they start appreciating, yes, Krishna is very intelligent, he can talk like that. Because if Krishna talks in very simple language, and those who are intellectual, they say, this is too simple to understand. How can God be so simple? So that's why Krishna will sometimes say very simple things in a very complicated manner. And it is complicated also because it is achintya. But it is, if broken down into simple facts, it is very simple. When he says everything is in me, it means everything is in Brahman. When he says everything is not in me, that means everything is not in him in the form of Krishna as a personality. Because as a personality, Krishna is aloof from everything. He is in Golok Vrindavan. Right? So that way it's very simple. But the way it is said is little twisted. Let's read the purport here. So
He is also in the form of Paramatma, in the heart.
Yeah, he's there in the heart and source of in the form of
Paramatma.
Yes. So Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. The Lord says that everything is resting on Him. Matstani sarvabhutani. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. Sometimes we see a picture of Atlas holding the globe of his shoulder on his shoulder. He seems to be very tired, holding the great earthly planet. Such an image should not be entertained in connection with Krishna's upholding this created universe. He says that although everything is resting on him, he is aloof. The planetary systems are floating in space, and this space is the energy of the Supreme Lord. But he is different from space. He is differently situated Therefore, the Lord says, although they are situated on my inconceivable energy as a supreme personality of Godhead, I am aloof from them. This is the inconceivable opulence of the Lord. In the Nirukti Vedic dictionary, it is said, Yujjayate nene durghastesu karyeshu. The Supreme Lord is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying his energy. His person is full of different potent energies, and his determination is itself actual fact. In this way, the personality of Godhead is understood. You may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it is not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, simply by his willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. The Lord explains this fact. Although he is the maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation, he does not touch the material manifestation. Simply by his supreme will, everything is created, everything is sustained, everything is maintained, and everything is annihilated. There are no difference between his mind and himself, as there is a difference between ourself and our present material mind, because he is absolute spirit. Simultaneously, the Lord is present in everything, yet the common man cannot understand how he is also present personally. He is different from this material manifestation, yet everything is resting on him. This is explained here as Yogam Aishwaryam, the mystic power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yat Yatha akashasthito nityam vayu sarvatra go maha tata sarvani bhutani matstani tyupadharaya. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. So Krishna is giving an example to explain the sky and the wind. So you can imagine in this way that the sky is like a bowl kept upside down. Uh-huh. A bowl which is kept upside down. Right? That is the sky. Like here you can see on the screen. So the sky is like an upside down bowl, and the wind is moving inside the sky. Correct. It's flowing within the sky. So what does the sky do? It limits the area in which the wind can move or flow, isn't it? Hmm. Correct. But can this wind affect the sky anyway? Can you do anything to the sky? Can the wind make the sky go beyond its limit, the boundary? No.
No.
Isn't it? So you can see that sky is limiting the wind, but is the wind limiting the sky? No. The sky is controlling the wind, but is the wind controlling the sky? No. So Krishna is saying similarly, I'm controlling material energy, I'm limiting everything. Everything happens in my control, in my will, through my will. But then whatever the rest is, it doesn't affect me at all. It doesn't affect me. So that's why this example of the sky is given. Mm. So at the same time, we should know that the sky restricts the area of movement of the wind, but it does not restrict the movement itself. Similarly, the Lord, He controls the limit of our activities, but the Lord does not control the activities per se individually. That means we have a freedom to choose between certain things. That is not limited by the Lord. But how much we can act, that is limited by the Lord. This is a very nice example given by His Holiness Radha Govind Goswami Maharaj. He says, when you take a flight from one place to another place, there are certain things limited and there are certain things for which you have free choice. What is limited? You have taken a flight from Delhi to Mumbai. That flight will take you to Mumbai only. Now, once you're on board, you can't say, no, no, please change the direction. I want to go to Kabul in Afghanistan. That cannot happen. So once you boarded that flight, that limitation has come. What is that limitation? It will take you to Mumbai only, right? But what is your free choice? In the flight, you can sleep, you can eat, you can sit, you can talk, you can fight, you can watch some videos, you can read, you can use the washroom, or you can just sit in your place. That all that free choice you have. So there are certain things which are limited, and there are certain things which are allowed as freedom is given. So that is explained here by the Lord, that He limits the material nature, creation, controls it, but the material creation also has its own ways of functioning because of the karma of the living entities. And He's not affected. So this will be last verse for today. We'll just read the purport and then end. Chanakya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord is giving an example which may help us to understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive. And in that sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of the air influences the movements of everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God, and all of them are subordinate to that supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the supreme personality of Godhead. Thus, everything is moving under His will. By His will, everything is being created, everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Still, He is aloof from everything, as the sky is always aloof from the activities of the wind. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Yad Bisha Vata Pavate. It is out of the fear of the Supreme Lord that the wind is blowing. Taittiriya Upanishad 2.8.1. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 3.8.9, it is stated, Etasya va aksharasya prashasane gargi surya chandramasau vidritau tishtata. Etasya va aksharasya prashasane gargi dvau apartivau vidhirtau tishtataha. By the supreme order, under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the moon, the sun, and the other great planets are moving. In the Brahma Samhita 5.52, also it is stated, Yachakshuresha Sabita Sakala Grahana Raja Samasta Suramurti Rashesha Tejaha Yashagya Brahmati Sambrata Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This is a description of the movement of the sun. It is said that the sun is considered to be one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord and that it has immense potency to diffuse heat and light. Still, it is moving in its prescribed orbit by the order and the supreme will of Govinda. So, from the Vedic literature, we can find evidence that this material manifestation, which appears to us to be very wonderful and great, is under the complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This will be further explained in the later verses of this chapter. Hare Krishna.
Thanks. So we stop here. Any last questions or comments, please, you can ask for a few minutes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one question. In the first verse, it is stated that transcendental knowledge cannot be stolen; it can only be acquired or bestowed on us. But if we have envy, the envy, even if we are envious about other people, then the knowledge will not get transferred. Right?
Yeah, because when we say envy, so um, envy can be towards one person, or it can be a collective quality. So if it is towards one person, you should know that you have it in collective aspect also in you. It's just getting manifested towards a person because of the situation. In some other situation, it will get manifest towards some other person, right? So therefore, envy towards anyone is bad if you see it from the absolute perspective. Yes, but at least we can try to be non-envious towards Bhagavan and Guru. Even if you're not able to give up envy towards everyone, because that may be a little difficult to do initially as a practitioner. Mm. So at least one can avoid envy towards great personalities.
Yeah, because Prabhuji, I think the general tendency would be like we stay non-envious towards Guru and Bhagavan. That come, I mean, out of fear or something, like in a general
No,
sense.
it's
But
not like that. It is only thought by us. So, but it's not true that we don't have envy towards Bhagwan or we don't have envy towards Guru. We have it. It's not that it's not there. It's there because the root of envy is not gone. So if it is not gone, so it is there also.
Okay, Prabhuji.
What is root of envy?
Root of envy is avidya, ignorance.
No, we are now you explained as envy. Envy, since starting in Krishna consciousness, we have been listening. We are envious of Krishna. That's why we are
Yes,
here.
yes. That's why we are here because we are envious. And how are
Yeah,
we envious? The point is very simple. Krishna is telling so many things to us to do, but we are not doing.
yeah, we are not following the directions of Guru in Krishna. So that means we are envious.
Yes.
So what is the root of envy? Is it lust or means I don't know?
Ignorance, avidya.
Okay. So now we should be following Krishna. Now we know we are envious.
Mm. So it's because of ignorance, avidya, we have this envy. Avidya is the root cause of everything, of all the problems, of all the non-required things. It's avidya. Avidya means ignorance. You don't know exactly who you are. You don't know who Krishna is. You don't know what you should be doing. So we have ignorance of that. Otherwise, why would I be envious of Krishna when I know Krishna is my most dear well-wisher? Why would I be envious of him if I really know that? Why will I be envious of him?
Okay, chanting can remove it, that means.
Avidya can be removed by bhakti. Chanting is a part of bhakti. You do anything in bhakti that can remove avidya.
Prabhuji, I have one more question if I'm permitted. Uh, so can I ask?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, Prabhuji, like you told, we have free choice on the plain example you gave. So this free choice must be according to karmas to particular people.
Yeah.
Like, so um, we usually see outside that we write our destiny. Someone say destiny is destined. So someone say we have free will, someone say we don't have free will.
Okay. First of all, when we say free will, so you should know that this free will word is a long explanation or terminology used for the freedom that jiva has. Free will makes us think that we have all the free will and we can do anything what we like. That is not true. We have limited will. We are not completely free. So that what is that limited will? That limited will is either you listen to Krishna or you don't listen to Krishna. That is there. That choice is always there with the jiva. What we are experiencing in our life is a product of both what we did in the past and what we are choosing to do in the present. So it's a mixture of both. If someone says everything is destined, how is it destined? Who made it destined like that? It's your own karma that made it destined like that. So at the end, it all comes upon your shoulder.
नहीं मतलब सब बोलते हैं कि भगवान बुद्धि वैसे ही बना देता है and we do those things. What is that?
Krishna will give you such intelligence to do such things because you are adamant. You want to do something like that. And that's what your karma is. So when Krishna shows you, okay, the way, this is the way if you want to do it.
Okay,
He,
thank you,
he
Prabhu.
will he will facilitate. As Paramatma is neutral, na, so he's only facilitating. So then you get an experience of what you want to do. And then if you say why Krishna gives us that choice. So Krishna is giving us that choice because you want that choice. Otherwise, Krishna can make you a statue. Don't choose. So would you prefer to remain a statue, or would you prefer to do some mistakes and then learn from the mistakes and then become a proper person?
Better Krishna choose.
But then if Krishna chooses for you, then you are a machine, no? Battery operated machine.
That better we become machine. At least he will choose right.
If you desire like that, then you'll become like that. That means you merge in Brahman. That's what you
Huh?
want then.
No, I want Krishna. That's why I'm choosing him.
No, you don't want Krishna, because when you say like this, that means you are saying let me become battery operated machine. That means then you are saying I will have no choice. So if you have no choice, then how will you love Krishna?
Okay.
Then
Okay.
should Krishna demand love from you?
Okay, understood.
Then you are talking then you're talking the philosophy of impersonalists. I don't want to have free will. Let's say I don't want to choose. So better then it's like uh, running away from the responsibility. Instead of thinking like that, you should think in this way. I made wrong choices because of which I'm in this particular situation. Now let me work hard and make the right choices. Not that, oh, it's so difficult to work hard, Krishna. Better you only do everything for me. That is not a very nice attitude. No? Then you are kind of trying to become a burden on Krishna.
Prabhu, one question I have.
It's just like I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say there's a child, right from the child's childhood, the mother has been telling the child, if you don't listen to me and you continue to do the way you are doing, you're going to suffer a lot in future, right? But the child doesn't listen. And after 20, 25 years, that child makes a mess of his life. And then the child is in a big trouble. And then after that, the child goes to the mama and says, Mama, I made a big trouble for myself. Now you do everything and just get me out of this trouble. You know. So that time the mother can give you ways, but then the mother will expect, because you made everything bad for you, now you only try to rectify it. Don't put everything on my head. So similarly, if you think we are in so much of suffering and it's all because I have done things wrong in the past and misused my independence. So now you have to take the responsibility of using your free will or your choice making ability correctly. You can't say, Krishna, you do everything for me. Krishna will not be happy with such an attitude.
Uh, Prabhuji,
Mm. Yes, last time.
yeah, could I ask a question?
Yes, Mother.
Yeah, Prabhu, many times we say like, Krishna, I just want to be an instrument in your hands. Is that also,
Yeah, it is
um,
good to say like that, but then you should also mean it. It's nice to say, it's nice to say we should always try to desire like the great devotees, but then we should also mean, that means, yes, if then Krishna makes us an instrument, then we should be ready for it.
okay,
So if you are proposing something to a person and then person takes you seriously, and then you can't tell that person, no, I was just telling that very lightly, don't take it so seriously, you know. So then that person would have said, then better don't waste my time. When you become serious, then you talk to me.
yeah,
So we have to be little serious, no, about what commitments we make to Krishna. Because Krishna is very serious about his commitments to us. So don't make a commitment if you are not serious about it. That's the point.
Okay.
Prabhuji,
But,
can I ask?
but yes, we can desire like that, but don't just do it like that. Okay. You can always tell Krishna, Krishna, I desire to become an instrument in your hands. And if you think so, then you please make me an instrument. Also give me the strength to become a good instrument. Like that we can pray.
Okay.
And if you pray like that, then Krishna will also kind of show you ways of becoming an instrument. But then you have to prove yourself. Because if you don't prove yourself, then you again lose the trust of Krishna.
Sorry to interrupt, Prabhuji. Why we are so much worried, Krishna? We will lose trust on Krishna. Krishna has to give us this.
Because Krishna is a person. You can't just be whimsical with him.
Krishna is a person, but can Father lose trust on us? Means
Yes. You
also,
can disappoint your father also, no?
no,
Because
I
if
disappoint my father will be father always, na? He
he is
will.
always father, that means he will give you chance again. But at the same time, when he gives you chance again, then that opportunity may not be wrong mentality. I should keep on doing mistakes and Krishna should just keep on forgiving me because he's my father. But then that is not a good father who keeps just forgiving you. That is a good father who makes you later realize also that why are you such a nonsense? I have given you so many opportunities. That means you're not serious. You think about it very practically. When you become a parent in future and when you get a child who keeps on just doing mistakes again and again, and you have already given that child thousands of opportunities, and then that person remains the same, then will you be a good parent to again forgive? Then you have to become a little serious with that child.
I
Or
understand.
otherwise what will happen? You will just spoil the child. And that's what is happening nowadays. Most of the children are spoiled children because their parents are too pampering in each other. That is what is happening. This is the modern, you can say, um, you can see the kind of upbringing the parents are giving to their children nowadays. So that is again a wrong approach. We should know Krishna is very merciful. At the same time, we cannot take that mercy for granted. So we have to be little serious about our commitments. Either you don't make a commitment, or if you make a commitment, you be very serious about it. And if you fail, then don't take it lightly. Then you should also be repentant about it.
Okay, Prabhu.
You know. So this is very important. That's why otherwise it's not nice. We sometimes we may do whimsically things and then we'll unnecessarily offend Bhakti Devi. And Krishna will not be completely against us or will forget us, but then you are only delaying that that process of devotional service to work for you. So that is also wrong, na? That if you delay it for yourself. That is the reason. Okay. Yes, Varshana Leelamat.
Prabhuji, I wanted to speak on envy. Topic is time permits, otherwise we can take in the next class also.
If it is short, we can take it now.
Yeah, just the definition, Prabhuji, that envy, as per my understanding, is that we are finding fault in somebody, we are feeling jealous of someone. But once we are sadhaka, as you told, we are still having envy on Krishna by not following him properly. But does it my envy or my own fault? It's not like I'm seeing fault in Krishna. It's my inability, or how do I understand?
You envy makes you see fault. So it makes you see fault. That means it doesn't make you appreciate. That's the point. So, like, I'll give you an example, very relevant to what we are speaking now. If I see Krishna's mercy as hatred, if I see Krishna's punishment towards me as Krishna's hatred, that means I'm not appreciating Krishna, right? So that is also envy. That is also envy. So envy means what? You are not able to appreciate Krishna. And when you say pure love for Krishna, then if Krishna sends me to hell, I'll still appreciate that.
And what if, Prabhuji, it's not like we are not appreciating, we are not finding fault in Krishna, but we are still not up to the mark. Like, if Krishna sends me to...
That is seeing fault only. It's not that you are vocalizing it or you're verbally speaking about it, that Krishna is like this, Krishna is like that. But in your heart, the acceptance is not there, no?
Yeah, so for example, my situation, if Krishna sends me to hell, I will not be definitely happy going there, but I know, okay, yes, Krishna is thinking, so maybe I should be there.
Yeah, that you are thinking like this, but let Krishna send you to hell. That time you'll come to know what exactly is in your heart.
Yes,
Now you
Prabhuji,
are
yes.
now you are intellectually saying this. Yes, yes. If Krishna does this to me, I'll be okay with that. But when it actually happens with you, then you'll come to know.
No, you're true only on saying that, because it's not easy.
Sorry. So that's why I just gave an example to you. So we have to see like that. An example was given just to help us understand.
Prabhu, is it prasada buddhi? Like whatever he gives, we accept it as for our
Yeah,
benefit.
if you are a devotee, that is the buddhi that a devotee should have cultivate. A devotee's intelligence is functioning always like that. If one is a devotee, then a devotee will never see something as one's karma also. A devotee will always see everything as Krishna's mercy only. A devotee, if something bad is happening to in his life, he'll never say it is my karma. He'll say Krishna's mercy. He will not even say it's my karma. He will see that also as Krishna's mercy. That means what? Even you see, now you may say, how is it possible that you don't have a karma and you are getting suffering? Is it possible? So that devotee sees in this way that even let's say I don't have any karma to suffer, but Krishna still makes me suffer, and I am ready to accept that also. You are understanding? It's a much more exalted level of surrender.
Okay.
That that person is Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means let's say that person doesn't have any karma. And still then suffering comes to that person will say it's Krishna's mercy. Now we people cannot appreciate that level of surrender.
Yes.
We cannot appreciate that level of surrender. But those are pure devotees, they have that level of surrender. That if I have no past karma, still Krishna puts me in a situation of suffering, I'll accept it happily. In the way of this is giving me chance to serve Krishna.
Prabhuji, and Krishna will always put his pure devotees only in the difficult task,
Yeah,
right?
he does that. He does that.
For
But
example, we have Prabhupada's a big
correct,
example.
correct. So no one can say it was Prabhupada's prarabdha karma or past karma. No, it was not. It just Krishna's play with Prabhupada. And he did it just to please Krishna. Now we may say why Krishna does something like that. But who are we to say something like that? Prabhupada is not complaining to Krishna. So who are we to complain? He's happy.
So basically, Prabhuji, we have to learn to get to that understanding. That's why we say, right, we are in the process
Yes,
of
yes,
learning.
yes, we have to come to that level of understanding. We will try to then judge, no, that how can he be a pure devotee and suffer? Maybe then some past karma is there otherwise. But even if there is no past karma, Krishna can still make you suffer. For what? For two reasons. One reason is he just wants to show to the world, look at my devotees, they are so strong, they are so fixed, they don't get affected. You know, to teach that to the world, they don't get affected at all. So Krishna does that. In that way, who gets glorified? Let's say Prabhupada, he suffered so much. We are using this word, but it's a wrong word to use. He suffered so much. But who got glorified at the end? He only got glorified, no? If everything was a piece of cake for him, then you would not be saying Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada.
Prabhupada said purity is the force. So Prabhupada is very pure. So he can do that, but we can't match him
So
anyway.
Krishna will not do that to you. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
if, if,
Prabhupada,
if, if we are suffering, if we are suffering, it is due to our karma only. Krishna will not make us unnecessary suffer.
Prabhupada is Manjari in the spiritual world. We have not yet reached the spiritual.
Let's not talk about that. Who Prabhupada is in the spiritual world. That's a different subject, right? Manjari or whatever, that is a different subject. We are talking about how Krishna's pure devotees, they see Krishna's dealings with them. That's how they see.
Prabhuji, one question. Maybe we are actually over time. Maybe we can discuss later also. But just a thought came to my mind, like when we see like sannyasis or Maharaj are having some health issues, then we do pray to Krishna for their quick health recovery and maybe for their longer association and so on. But they are actually maybe their sufferings are also part of Krishna's plan.
We
And
can't say. We can't say. It
uh,
might be Krishna's plan, it might be their prarabdha, we can't say.
so it is okay to continue praying. And yeah.
Your choice. I don't really see, I mean, it's all about how you feel, because we should know one thing that yeah, what I'm saying might appear to you a little, you can say, mm, controversial, but this is a fact which I'm sharing with you all. This aspect of praying for someone else is a Christian aspect. It's not in the Vedic theology. You study the entire Bhagavatam. Tell me one pastime like that, where one person is telling another person, please pray for me, or he prayed for that person. You know, okay. You study the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There no devotee is telling another devotee, pray for me. You know. So this is something which is coming from Christian theology, and it has come into iskcon also because a lot of people in iskcon have come from Christian background. But is there anything wrong about it? There's nothing wrong about it because we can always use our sentiments in Krishna consciousness. Okay, there's nothing wrong about it because if I'm, let's say, praying for someone's well-being in Krishna consciousness, it's not making me forget Krishna. No, so it's not wrong. It's okay. It can be used, such sentiments can also be used in bhakti. But if you want to look at it technically, then technically it doesn't work. No, it doesn't work. What works is if you, uh, if a person who's superior to us does anugraha, that anugraha word can be used as prayer. One can, I mean, kind of translate that as prayer, that this person prayed for me, but it is not prayer, it is basically mercy. Mm. So a superior person can do that for us, right? Uh, and what we say prayer, It's not prayer. You can say it's a wish of the other person's well-being, and that is coming from a sentiment because I am connected to that person. That's all, you know. So if you wish someone well, either you can verbalize it or it's in your heart. That's okay. Both ways it is fine. You know. But the part of making it an expression, making it a ritual, making it a custom, that is a borrowed idea from Christian theology. It's not a Vedic concept. If you don't agree with me, you can study all the Vedic scriptures and give me examples of how anywhere you find any interaction like that. You'll not find it.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
I'll just end with this because we are getting too late. I have another class at 6:30. So
Sure.
I'll give you an example to just uh, s- substantiate what I was saying. Have you ever seen any the tradition or culture of a child going to the father and saying, "Please pray for my long life"? No. Mm. The child may say, "Please bless me for long life," not pray for long life. So, you know, please try to understand how in the Vedic culture things work and how in Christianity it works. So in iskcon, many things are borrowed from Christianity because in iskcon, a lot of people are coming from Christian background. Okay.